to Joel Embiid and the Sixers in a second, but first, highlights presented by Hilton. Spurs Nuggets. Derek White cruises up the court and does this to Paul Millsap.
Oh, just another draft pick the Spurs find. Final few picks of the first round, coming in, making an impact in the postseason. Spurs, not that shocking. They beat them.
I was shocked he did that.
Oh, that was a shocking play.
Yes.
Yeah. The game was not that shocking itself.
Pacers and Celtics. Thaddeus Young showing great effort as he stays with the play, gets the chase down block on Al Horford.
For our younger viewers that are wondering, what was the NBA like in the mid-90s? A lot of this. Watch this game. Tough-nosed defense and missed open shots, man. This was a slog.
I really enjoyed the intensity of the playoffs. Man, get rid of that regular season, 82 games, shorten it a little bit. Let's get to the playoffs soon.
This was incredible. Giannis, Pistons, Bucks, gets the steal, stretches in transition for the dunk from the free throw line.
Brent Barry won a dunk contest doing that. Jordan was actually at the free throw line. Brent Barry won one a foot inside of the free throw line like Giannis did right there with his warm-ups on and everything.
That might be the longest in-game dunk
ever?
Yes.
Check this out. Halftime at Jazz Rockets. This is just
great.
Silly. It's amazing.
What? See, you're not a fan of this? The Rockets in-game entertainment, our friend Tillman Fertitta, they get it right over there. This is outstanding. This was better than Celtics Pacers, I'm telling you right now.
This is what our girl Allie used to do before.
Allie, yep, who does my makeup. This is exactly what Allie used to do in
She was in the circuit. Allie was in Cirque du Soleil.
She
Yes,
was.
absolutely.
Yep. Allie, you listening?
What happened to Allie?
She's doing that to Freddie right now.
She went from Cirque du Soleil to having to work with you?
Now Cirque du Soleil.
Upgraded.
Man, yeah.
She upgraded.
Absolutely. That's how she got the job. What experience do you have dealing with crazy Cris?
Well, on to game one between the Nets and the Sixers. It's good to see you again, Nick.
Yeah, you too.
This was the D'Angelo Russell show. Russell pouring in 26 in his first career playoff game to help the Nets pull off the upset. 111-102. Boy, the Philly faithful showing their disgust. They booed their Sixers team. Their main target, Ben Simmons, who had just 9 points. When asked about the booing, Simmons had this to say after the game.
You're going to boo and stay on that side. So I feel if you're a Sixers fan, you're going to boo, stay on that side.
All right, Nick, let's start with you.
Yeah. Cause
for concern after what you saw from the Sixers last night?
Just worst case scenario, game one. And that's all. Joel Embiid's not healthy, and it shows. Ben Simmons has the second worst playoff game of his career, only trumped by the 1-point effort in game 2 last year against the Celtics. And their shooters, Redick, Harris, their one good sub or their best sub, Mike Scott, they combined to go 5 of 22 from the field, 2 of 14 from 3, which is a trend because the team went 3 of 25 from 3. I understand some folks are going to say, listen, make or miss league. When you make 12% of your three-point attempts, when you only make 3 three-pointers, it's tough to win. And it is tough to win under those circumstances. But I'm worried about Embiid's health. And Ben Simmons, like I'm watching the game, see, and I can think of no one but you. Because while I think Ben Simmons has been over-criticized because he's an all-star and we treat him like he's a scrub, on Saturday afternoon, he deserved to be booed. He deserved all of the criticism he got. He was bad. He was a big part of the problem for Philadelphia, and it continues a trend. Now, they can fix it tonight. They can work towards fixing it tonight, then get back on track tonight. But yeah, like if you're the Sixers, we have talked about can they beat Toronto in round 2. I don't think many people were concerned, could they beat Brooklyn in round 1, and I don't think people should overreact to it. But if Embiid's not fully healthy, Simmons must play better, and their shooters got to make some shots.
Yeah, I'm not going to be overreacting because I was calling for the upset in the first round of the playoffs, Brooklyn to beat Philadelphia. I thought they would have a hard time matching up with them because during the regular season, Philadelphia is a good defensive team, but the sets of the Nets would give them problems because the Sixers don't have a true point guard, and they also have J.J. Redick, which is hard to hide him. From a shooting standpoint, that was the difference in this game and the way they operate. Now, Philadelphia, the indictment on them is they got one franchise player, not 3. Jimmy Butler's not a franchise player. He can't be the best player on the championship team, and Ben Simmons is definitely not a a franchise player in that regard. Joel Embiid is that, and when Joel Embiid is not healthy and are playing well, we see the type of team that Philadelphia was, and that's what we saw in game number 1. I believe this will be a very tough series for them. Philadelphia, if they don't cure their road woes in the playoffs, man, they got a chance to get ejected. They lose 2 in Brooklyn, because, it's a given, all right? They're going to win game number 2.
You believe that? Okay.
Yes, it's a given. They'll come at that. They'll win game number 2, but now it comes down to Thursday, Saturday in Brooklyn, because I believe this is a tough matchup for them. Brooklyn got whatever shot they wanted at any part of the court and whenever they wanted it during this game. And I expect Philadelphia to shoot better, but how they play them defensively, I want to see what changes they make.
Are you surprised a little bit about Joel Embiid and maybe the severity of this injury? I think we sort of heard a little bit that it was bothering him since the All-Star break, but I don't think anyone knew it was as bad as it was, that he couldn't finish out the game.
No, even when the reports were he was questionable for game 1, I thought that was maybe a little misdirection by Elton Brand. No, Joel Embiid's clearly not healthy. But here's the issue. Even with a compromised Joel Embiid, when Jimmy Butler gives you 32 and you're playing a Brooklyn Nets team that has a bit of a happy to be here feel to it, you're not supposed to lose at home in the playoffs. Like, we can't just, if they're in round 2 and Joel Embiid's not fully healthy, the Raptors are really good, assuming the Raptors get there. Then that is not an excuse, it's an explanation. Our best player's not 100%. But when you have this talented of a starting 5, you shouldn't need Joel Embiid to give you 30 and 15 to beat the Nets, especially when Jimmy Butler plays one of the best games he's played since he came over to the Sixers.
Yeah, in the playoff, the brand of basketball is totally different. And if you give up D'Angelo Russell, he gets 26. The backup point guard, Cris LeVert, he gets 23. How you going to win that game? We're missing a lot of the good things that the Nets did. First 3 quarters, how many points they get? 31, 31, 31. So that has a lot to do with their shooting and their overall execution compared to, oh, Philly. Man, I thought Philadelphia was better than what they were. But in this game, the Nets were just a lot better, and they seemed like they were more prepared than the Sixers.
And that's, by the way, the defensive part is where I will add some heat for Ben Simmons, because I think when we've critiqued his inability to shoot, one of the things that just gets thrown aside is he has been, up to this point in his career, an outstanding defensive perimeter player. Where was that? Like, I understand you were upset the fans were booing you. I understand you're in a bad offensive game. You can put your imprint on the game on the defensive end, especially when your best player on both sides, Joel Embiid, is not at 100%. That's when they particularly need Ben Simmons defensively, and he was bad on both ends on Saturday.
And from the line. 1 for 5 from the line yesterday, too. So he didn't contribute.
That's normal, Jenna. When he gets outside that little restricted area.
By the restricted area, literally a foot underneath the
There you go.
Got it. All right, time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by CarMax. Let's stick with this game. D'Angelo Russell had a team-high 26 to put the Nets up 1-0 in the series. So, CC, put a grade on D'Angelo's first career playoff performance.
Man, you got to give him an A, especially after the things Magic Johnson, the Lakers said about him. Man, you're not a leader. You're not the guy going to lead my team. Well, I happen to be in the playoffs. First playoff game, outstanding for him. He gives them the ability, because off that pick and roll, man, he's got outstanding range, and he's got that herky-jerky, not Harden, but that herky-jerky style that is hard. I'm going to give him an A. Great in game number 1.
I also give him an A because of the way he recovered from what was a really poor first half. First half, I think he was 2 of 11. He was getting his teammates involved, but his own shot wasn't falling. Came back in the second half, scored 18, was excellent, went from distributor to scorer in the second half. And Cris LeVert, who we mentioned also, was really great in this game. The backcourt, starting and on sixth man backcourt, was outstanding for Brooklyn in this basketball game.
All right, good stuff. Got to take a break. Coming up, hey, has Russell Wilson played his last game in a Seahawks jersey? That's next time.